Hello everyone and welcome to another Rise of Kingdoms video. This is Dragothian here, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 commander pairings to bring inside the Altar of Darkness and the Ancient Ruins area in the Light and Darkness KVK mode. You can only bring, effective this last patch that we've had, you can only bring one army into that area. If you bring more than one army in through other means, like trying to rally inside, you can't move either of your armies until one goes all the way back to their city. So you can only bring one. We tried it. Because of that, I wanted to make a video on the top 5 pairings to bring inside of that area to be the most effective and to rack up kills. Now, obviously, before the ruins or the altars open for business and start generating honor for whoever captures it, really the only reason to go in there is just to rack up some kills, have some fun, let off some steam, whatever, float your boat, right? But when you bring your army in there, you want to make sure that you're getting a good value, you're getting good trades. And this guide is meant to kind of tell you what commander pairings is going to give you the best chance to do that. So with that being said, I'm also going to add one more for not necessarily somebody who has all the commanders maxed out, so that if you're in a middle tier and you've got some decent commanders and you want to bring them to the table, you can do that and have the same kind of benefit, just not quite as effective, but still really effective. So first I'm going to jump out right at the beginning. There's a couple things that make a lot of sense to me whenever we're putting this stuff together. One is you want some tankiness. You don't want that to be everything, and I'm going to go into that later too. But you want some tankiness, but secondly, you also want AoE damage. You're going to be in a huge scrum, so you're going to want to have tankiness to be able to take some hits if you end up getting targeted, but then also you want to be able to put out a lot of AoE damage because you're going to be targeting one player while being able to hit multiple players, up to 5 usually, on most of these pairings. So you're going to want to do that. And then also you want to make sure you have a little bit of mobility. So you're going to be in and out a lot of the battle. You're going to go in, try and target something down or blast something down, and then as soon as you get multi-targeted, you want to bolt it out of there so you're not taking a bad trade. Because if you get swarmed, that's when you start taking bad trades. Okay. So first pairing right off the bat to hit all those things really in spades is going to be Guan Alex. Now, again, this is a top tier pairing. Guan is very difficult to max, and again, he's a later generation commander. Alex is kind of a middle generation commander, also really good at max. So this is going to be one that not everybody can use. So I get it, but I want to give you the top 5, and I'm going to give you some alternatives as well if you don't necessarily have the top tier pairings as well. So first off, why is Guan so good? Because he's actually in 2 of these pairings. He does an AoE fan-shaped damage. He also silences those 3 targets as well. You're going to hit 3 targets with this guy every time. In addition, you also get, with his Force skill, an additional chance to hit. If it's just one target, you get an additional damage factor of 1,000. If you're hitting more than one target, again, you're going to be doing that. There's an additional damage factor chance of 1,400, which is very, very good, to your current target, which is really, really good. You're going to be hitting many, many people with this commander in this situation as well. That doesn't apply. His 3rd skill does have a little bit of a heal as well if you're leaving battle, which is nice because, again, you're going to be targeting, you're going to be attacking, and then you're going to be pulling back. When you pull back, you're going to heal a little bit, which is very, very good. And then again, we already went over his 4th skill. His expertise doesn't really apply here unless you catch a shield from Alex, which is nice, from another player, not necessarily from you, but from another player. That will also trigger his 15% skill damage increase. But Alex here as a 2nd works really well. Obviously, you've got a shield that works for you and a person that's around you, so very helpful to your alliance mates. You've got a 10% skill damage proccable nuke, which is also very good, that tends to fire very quickly whenever you engage in battle. I see this more often than not go off within the first 3 to 5 seconds of a fight. So you'll get that instant 1,000, 1,500, 4,000 nuke, whatever that ends up being, right off the bat. And then also you've got March Speed, which is very, very good, and more attack while they're on the map, which you are on the map, and then more attack, 40% here, 30% here, which lends very well. Again, we did this on the attack, health, and defense video last week. This helps the skill damage of Guan Yu, so you definitely want to have that. And then his expertise as well. All this stuff applies. You've got the shield itself, but then you also increase the damage taken by nearby enemies up to 3 by 30% for 4 seconds. That's huge. That's huge. So whenever you fire that shield off, instant 3 damage debuff to 3 people around you. And that's going to help not only you, but also your allies in the area. That's going to be helpful. So this is one of the top pairings for sure. I've got reports on almost all of these pairings with the exception of the last 2. So I'm going to show you what I mean by what I'm talking about here. But this is a very good pairing. This pairing lasted a long time on the battlefield. I did not have to necessarily pull back and refresh very often, especially the way when you know how to play this kind of thing where you're not just kind of going to the front and parking your troops and kind of letting things happen. This will be a good pairing for you. The second pairing with Guan Yu YSG, same thing, full infantry. And the reason this works again so well is because of his AoE, 1700 damage AoE. It obviously goes down because of the more troops, the armies that you're going to be hitting, but it's a circle. You're going to be hitting so many targets with this. And again, it's very, very effective to get multiple targets hit because that racks up your kill count during this portion of the event. 50% increase in active skill damage, also very beneficial for both of these commanders. And then the second skill, 100 rage generation, 10% chance to do it. That applies. You definitely want to be able to have this. This means both of these AoEs are going to be firing off faster and faster and faster. The only thing that doesn't take effect is this attack to archer units of 100% because we're going to be using infantry on this. Again, Guan Yu is going to be primary because of that reason. And again, because he's primary, also you want to have him primary for the extra damage on his nuke. So this is also a very good pairing. I've got reports on this I'm going to show you at the end of the video too. But this is probably the second best pairing that I had so far all day. Third best pairing, I knew it was going to be good. I didn't think it was going to be this good. But Attila Takeda. Attila Takeda in the open field performed brilliantly. So definitely full cav on this pairing here. It's got decent mobility, not crazy, but decent. But the reason why this works, you don't have any AoE damage, but you've got tons of normal and counterattack damage. And effectively, that's kind of like AoE damage when you get swarmed, which you do get swarmed in this mode. You definitely get swarmed. So I tend to leave this army a little farther forward than I normally would the other armies that I'm going to talk about in this video. But with this one, you can afford to get swarmed a little bit because of the normal and counterattack damage that you're doing to your target alongside of the counterattack damage that you're doing to the people who are hitting you from the side. Very, very effective. I expected decent results from this, but when I show you the reports on this pairing in the open field against the targets that I was hitting and that were hitting me, you'll be surprised how heavily it favored my trade. It was very, very good. But again, the reason why this all works, of course, you've got a heal on his Takeda's force skill. Also, the 10% chance to increase your normal and counterattack, or reduce your normal and counterattack damage taken, which is very good. You've also got, again, more defense available here when you got full cav, and also this is the one that has the heal. I'm sorry. And then the second one, you've got again more march speed and increasing attack by 40%. That's always huge. The 10% for the march speed triggering, and then this benefits everybody. This is not just for you. The fiercest fire skill benefits everyone hitting that target because they get that this target's debuffed. It's not a debuff for you. In addition, this one is only for you. Your expertise for Takeda, you deal an increase of 30% normal attack damage to enemies who have been debuffed by fierce as fire. So that's very good. And again, of course, Attila being Attila, you have a 50% and 100% damage dealt chance on his force skill. Very, very good for 2 seconds. And again, skill damage reduction is always good. You're going to see other nukers trying to get to you. And again, march speed by 15% and attack by 40%. All this attack stuff is buffing up and stacking up. That's why this rally is so effective. This is going to be for open field, and it works brilliantly in this situation. And more damage and more damage and more damage. So that's exactly what you want to do. I'll show you the reports on these. You guys are going to like it. Next one, it's going to be very similar. It's basically a little bit of a toned down version of it. Saladin Takeda. The reason this works so well, again, he has a really nice nuke that reduces march speed so they can't get away whenever you're targeting them down, and decreases the healing effects. And you will see a lot of Richard Charles out there. I'm going to explain why you don't want to do that, but you'll see a lot of it. I saw a lot of it yesterday on yesterday's stream, and it did not perform very well for them, and I'm going to tell you why once I get through these pairings here. So additional attack by 20% and defense, march speed, all of those are good things. skill damage taken reduction, and counterattack damage taken reduction. Very, very good as well. This doesn't have anything to do with open field, and then this enhanced his primary skill. We already went over Takeda and why he's so good. This has March speed, this has counterattack damage reduction, this has skill damage taken reduction, it has healing effects received reduction. Everything is really, really good in this pairing. So another good pairing for Takeda is Saladin primary. And then finally, I'm going to go Alex YSG. YSG is very prevalent in this one as well, again, because he does such a great AoE. You want to have full full infantry on this pairing, again, because Alex is primary. If you go YSG primary, Alex secondary, you can, but you're going to be squishy. You're also going to be slow. So that's not as good of a pairing as this one is, but you can do it depending on if you have a level 60 Alex, okay? So Alex, again, we already went over him when we had him with Guan as second. He has a ton of march speed for infantry. He's got tons of attack bonuses that stack up very nicely. And again, that lends itself very well to his proccable skill damage and YSG's skill damage, which is also buffed by 50%. We went over that too. This is a very good pairing. It's tanky, tons of AoE damage, decently fast, debuffing, also helping out your alliance, all that good stuff. This is also a very good pairing. That's my 5th army. Now, one that I think that everyone can use for the most part that's in Light and Darkness, because you have to be in at least Season 3 of KVK to get to Light and Darkness. So unless you migrated to a kingdom from a brand new kingdom that just is jumping into Light and Darkness Season 3, you should be able to get this pairing put together. I think Charles Sun Tzu is a very good pairing, and again, for the very same reasons. You've got damage taken reduction here on the 3rd skill from Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu is one of the best epic commanders in the game. You also have infantry health, which makes you more tanky. With Charles, you have a counterattack damage bonus of 30%. His expertise also makes you very fast with the 20% and enhanced defense and health as well. And then finally, again, his first skill also deals increased damage while the shield is up, which is usually not for very long, but maybe a second or two. And then again, you also have AoE from Sun Tzu. He's basically a baby version of YSG. He's got no circle, but he's got the fan, but he can hit 5 targets, and he's got a 20% skill damage, active skill damage bonus instead of 50. And he also generates rage. Every additional target Sun Tzu hits, you generate 50 rage. So it's pretty sweet. And this works really well. He's speedy because of his expertise. He got tons of AoE nuke damage, rage generation. You've got counterattack damage. Those are all the things that I said you want to checkbox whenever you're bringing an army into the battlefield. So Charles Sun Tzu is actually a good way to do it, and you don't necessarily have to be top tier to do it. Also, something else you want to maybe consider, if you don't have necessarily all the fighting commanders yet, if you're in the single digit millions or low teen millions, something like that, but you still want to bring something and have some fun and be effective, Sun Tzu and anything will be fine from a damage perspective, but from an alliance help perspective, you can do a Joan with a Cleo. You can do a Joan with a Cleo. You can do a Joan with an Ethelfled or Ethelfled Joan. You can do any kind of buffing, like group AoE buffing. Joan, Cleo, and Ethelfled in any combination is just fine, because again, you're going to be doing the AoE defense buff here by 15% and a heal with Cleo. You've also got Joan's buff here. That's an AoE health, defense, and attack buff to different types of troops, which infantry health 30%. We went over this again in that video, is very, very helpful. Same thing with Cav, having defense. Again, if there's Attila Takedas out there, they're going to love you for this. And again, having a heal with Cleo is always very good, and the defense as well, stacking up very nicely. Also, Ethelfled too, her debuff is very, very nice. Attack, defense, and health by 30% for 2 seconds. That's always helpful. And again, you'll do a little damage. You got some AoE action going on with Ethelfled. Always very, very good. So let's jump into the reports really quick, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap up the video. Again, I think that overall, this was kind of fun. It was a little funner than I thought it would be. Yeah, 2.5 to 13. Again, this is Attila Takeda versus Alex Sun Tzu. And this was a one-on-one. I remember this one because it was at the very end. I was running around by myself. And he had more troops than I did. But he was also running. So that was the other thing. Attila Takeda, 1.5 to 22.5. And that was a swarm. But he was, the reason is because of his troop count right there, obviously. 4 to 13.4. 1 to 1.6. That's pretty even. This is basically evenish too, maybe 2,000 more. So, I mean, you get my drift, though. Like, Attila Takeda is just so much more powerful than I thought he was in this situation in the open field. Yeah, 5 to 27K. I mean, it's just nice. Yeah, 3.5 to 40,000. Again, a lot of that has to do with the troop count. This guy was, I know Easy Beasy is a good player, but he brought out a squishy army, and this guy was running away. He wasn't really hitting me because he was running away, so he couldn't fire his skills off, and he had archers, and I had cav. I mean, that's what that looks like. That is what that looks like. Same thing here. This was before he started running away, and I had to, I think, maybe farm hop to get to him. This was when I think we were targeting each other, and I was getting swarmed. But you can see, like, I was getting swarmed with Guan YSG and Kusunoki YSG, but I'm taking positive trades. These are all fairly even, though. Like this one, maybe an extra 4,000 in my favor. Yeah, 1 to 6 with Guan YSG here. These are all going to kind of be the same reports you'll get if you play smart. So 1.5 to 9,000, same idea. I got both of my nukes off here. Plus it was double C led. How many times have we said don't lead with double C in a fighting situation? 6 to 4,700. This was 1 to 6, 3 to 5. This was a negative, so I got swarmed on this one. And again, even though I got swarmed, it was still relatively even because, I mean, I took about 300 less or 300 more, but it was relatively even because of the damage reductions that you get from people being around you. And then I know I saw a lot of Alexes on the field. That's the other thing. So do not bring Richard Charles. I mean, I know it's tempting. It's tempting to just throw Richard Charles in the mix and just park him and let people hit you. But you can get swarmed down so easy nowadays with the commanders that are out now right now with all this the healing reduction and everything like that, and the counterattack damage taken reduction. You get swarmed down so quick, and you're not causing any damage. You don't have any AoE nuke. You have some counterattack damage, but you don't have Attila Takeda counterattack damage, right? And you're sitting there healing. I mean, you're just making yourself a severely wounded bill is all you're doing. I saw a ton of Richard Charleses out there, and it again, I understand it kind of makes sense, but in this situation, it doesn't, because you're not going to be doing anything more than just you're going to be taking bad trades the whole time. Bad trades the whole time. 1.5 to 15.5. Again, double C led with Ethelfled. That was a terrible choice. Saladin double C. That's a quality pairing. Again, this was he was getting swarmed down. He just didn't pull back in time. So 1 to 9.2. You can tell because he had 150,000 troops when I was attacking him, and he got defeated. But I didn't cause that. I only caused 28,000, 29,000 of the damage. So he was getting swarmed down, and I was a part of that swarm, and he got wrecked because he went too far deep. He went too deep. Same thing here, less than 1,000 to 3,600. This might have actually been the same guy. Yeah, same guy. And then, yep, Guan Yu against Babar's Pelagius, 1.1 to almost 13,000. This was another guy that got swarmed down, went a little too far down. So again, you get my drift. And this was, this was pretty much the whole time I was there. I was in there for a couple hours, and these were the reports I was getting. I think I took one negative trade because I went a little too far, but it was only like 2,000 or 3,000. Because of the pairings I had, it was very minimalized, whereas the other 50 reports that I got all looked like this. They were like 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 5 to 1, 40 to 1, that kind of trade. So, that's I think what the video is going to be. Again, just general rule of thumb for this particular situation only. Richard Charles is not exactly the best way to go. Richard Alex would be better because you have the ability to fire off a skill damage before you have to pull back. And also you have that shield that benefits not only you but your allies, and the damage debuff that he puts out whenever he fires his shield as well if he's expertised. So, and also the march speed. So very, very good overall. I think that those pairings are really the way to go. I think the advice there is pretty sound as well. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section below. If you like this video, please hit the like button and certainly subscribe if you have not done so already. Looking forward to seeing you guys next time. Cheers. Have a good one. Take care.